Hey everybody, today on Commander's Corners we are looking at Tinybones, the pickpocket, and 15 cards that synergizes with them. Tinybones is a 1 black mana legendary creature skeleton rogue with death touch 1/1. Whenever Tinybones, the pickpocket, deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target non-land permanent card from that player's graveyard and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. Which means we gotta get cards in the opponent's graveyards. To do that, we're running Aklazot's Deepest Betrayal. For 3 and 2 black mana, we get a flying lifelink 4/4, and whenever Aklazot's attacks, each opponent discards a card. For each opponent who can't, you draw a card. Whenever an opponent discards a land card, create a 1/1 black creature token with flying. Next, we're running Rankle, Master of Pranks. He's a 2 and a 2 black mana flying haste 3/3, and whenever Rankle, Master of Pranks, deals combat damage to a player, choose any number. Each player discards a card, each player loses 1 life and draws a card, and each player sacks a creature. Well, we're gonna go with mainly the discard option. Next, we have Siphon Mind, a 3 and a black mana sorcery, and it reads each other player discards a card. You draw a card for each card discarded this way, which means you technically 3 for 1 everyone else. Next up, we are running Vicious Rumors. For 1 black mana, Vicious Rumor deals 1 damage to each opponent. Each opponent discards a card, then puts the top card of their library into their graveyard, and you gain 1 life. That's pretty neat. Next, we're running Necrogen Mists, 2 and a black mana enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player discards a card from his or her hand. And an even worse version of Necrogen Mist, Bottomless Pit, 1 and 2 black mana enchantment. During each player's upkeep, that player discards a card at random. Now that's degenerate because you don't even get to pick. Anyways, next is Dark Deal, 2 and a black mana sorcery. Each player discards all the cards in his or her hand, then draws that many cards -1. To capitalize on this card, we are running Waste Not for 1 and a black mana enchantment. Whenever an opponent discards a creature card, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. Whenever an opponent discards a land card, add 2 black mana to your mana pool. And whenever an opponent discards a non-creature, non-land card, you draw a card. We're also running Geth's Grimoire for 4 generic mana. Whenever an opponent discards a card from his or her hand, you may draw a card. Which means, while they are losing cards, we are gaining cards. Tinybones, the Trinket Thief. Other Tinybones. For 1 and a black mana, we get at the beginning of each end step, if an opponent discarded a card this turn, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. You can also play 4 and 2 black mana to make each opponent with no cards in their hand lose 10 life. And you can do this multiple times if you have the mana for it. Now, sometimes we can't always get a free attack. So to do that, we're running Animate Dead for 1 and a black mana, enchant creature card in a graveyard. When it enters the battlefield, we bring it back, except it gets -1, -0. Another version of this is Reanimate. For 1 black mana, we can put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose life equal to its mana cost. Next, we're running Sir Conrad the Grim. For 3 and 2 black mana, we get a 5/4, and whenever another creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad the Grim deals 1 damage to each opponent. And you can also play 1 and a black mana to make each player put the top card of their library into their graveyard. Next, we're running Mindcrank. For 2 mana, we get an artifact that whenever an opponent loses life, that player puts that many cards from the top of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Which works pretty well when you're running Sir Conrad because they'll take damage, mill again, take damage, mill again. All forms of degeneracy. Lastly, we are running Toxic Deluge for 2 and a black mana sorcery. As an additional cost to cast Toxic Deluge, pay X life. All creatures get -X until end of turn. So the reason we're running this one is because sometimes our opponents play the creatures that we want, so we kill them and then we get them back. Alright, thank you everyone for that quick 15 synergies. If you like the videos and want to see more, please like and subscribe. Thank you!